What up, people? Welcome to another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. I'd like to give a belated Merry Christmas to each and every one of y'all. I'd like to give a preemptive Happy New Year to each and every one of y'all. And yes, I am here with a jam-packed episode on New Year's Eve for two reasons. One, because I've been gone for 2 weeks. Two, because I'm just that benevolent that I decided I'm going to grace y'all with my presence on the last day of the year. Yeah. I'm in an undisclosed location in my humble abode, aka my apartment of relevancy. And that's because I just had to get a lot of these thoughts off because I do not want to bring any type of negativity in the new year. And tell you the truth, there's not no negativity going on whatsoever in my house, in my home, in my humble abode, in my soul. I just have a lot of thoughts that's been pent up for the last 2 weeks, and I haven't had an outlet to put it on. So I said, you know what? Before the clock strikes midnight and we go into 2025, I got to get these salty thoughts off my salty chest, if you will. Without further ado, I'm going to give you a rundown of what to expect this week. Well, first and foremost, we're going to talk, unfortunately, about my New York Jets and their embarrassing performance this past Sunday, but not really so much about the game. No. Because like I said, I have stored up thoughts. So this might be old to you, but it's new to me. A lot of things happened in the last 2 weeks since I've been gone. News about a snooping owner, news about a belligerent, well, not a belligerent, but a snot-nosed kid, heir to the Johnson & Johnson throne by the name of Brick. I'm sorry. Isn't Brick something you call a dog? Isn't Brick a part of a house that can't get blown down? Isn't Brick a nickname of Jeff Allbrick? But we have a billionaire owner who impregnated probably his wife of half his age and came up with a 17-year-old offspring by the name of Brick. And this is no shade against the offspring because God best believe I got 4 of my own, plus I got grandchildren, plus I got nieces, nephews, great nephews, great nieces, godchildren, the whole nine. So I'll not disparage anybody below or under an adult age. This disparagement is more on the owner of, I listen, here's a little secret. People of my ilk, when we were growing up, our parents, well, some parents, tried to name us, quote unquote, regular names. So therefore, we did not get discriminated against due to our culture, due to our race, due to our creed. My name is Mike, short for Michael. Now, there's many origins of that name. Some would say I was named after the angel Michael. Others would say I was just named after my older cousin Michael, Big Mike to be exact. And that's probably where I was named by. But regardless, Michael, nothing out the blue. Because we wanted to be able to have a fighting chance in this society that unfortunately is biased as a you know what. Some other people from a different income bracket don't have those problems. Especially if you're born a billionaire with a billionaire spoon in your mouth. Your father in a drunken binge, or maybe a pharmaceutical medically induced binge, can name you Brick and give you carte blanche over what comes out your spout. But yeah, I have that little whole episode that happened in the last 2 weeks about Woody Johnson getting advice from his son Brick on moves to make in the Jets organization based on Madden ratings. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, of course, I told y'all mother effers back in June when they got quote unquote paused that New York City congestion pricing was going to go through right after the election. And guess what? We're about less than a week away from this newfangled, adjusted congestion pricing going into effect on January 5th, one day before January 6th, which can be known as the anniversary of the insurrection, or it can be known as the debut of WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I'm conflicted. On one hand, it's a monumental event. But on the other hand, it's the anniversary of a monumental event. I don't know. But I will be talking not so much about January 6th, but what's to come on January 5th. And, of course, talking about my lovely, lovely Nurse Jackie, a.k.a. Governor Hochul, or as Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach affectionately calls her, Velma from Scooby-Doo. Yes, and trust and believe, I have some visual aids. And last but not least, I will be giving my quick thoughts on this past weekend's AEW wrestling offering of World's End. Yeah, first pay-per-view that I actually watched in almost 2 years. Due to various reasons. Reason number one, the product just has not really earned the fact of me spending $55-$60 to watch their dreck, to watch their bullish, to watch their chicanery, foolishness, etc. I'm trying to get through this intro without cursing because there's going to be a whole bunch of curses later on, and I'm trying to spare. So I will give a couple thoughts. No, it's not going to be a review. No. I'll give a couple thoughts on exactly what I thought watching AEW's World End pay-per-view offering. And maybe, time permitting, I will actually give you a little insight on what has been in store. Well, what happened in the past week of Mike Steph. Yes. Got to enjoy my grandchildren for a whole week. No, don't get me wrong. I loved it. Tell you the truth, I'm emotionally just talking about it right now. But I'm going to leave that to the end because that's a great way to go into the new year talking about family, love, etc. So with all that being said, let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the way. Yeah, I know. I swear, I look like, you know what I feel? I feel like the end of a cartoon in the Looney Tunes where you just had that one circle and you're like, that's all, folks. But trust believe, just begun. So without further ado, good night and goodbye.
Salty thoughts of Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting, a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music, mixed for living. Salty thoughts of Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting, a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music, mixed for living. Rep New York City, but hate the politicians. Always bring the heat, Steph bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best. In the world of what I do, all y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it, I'm the whole definition. The pinnacle, the ultimate, I'm on a new mission. The salty thoughts of Mike Steph, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, the best in the world at what he does. Tap in.
Well, people, the Jets lose again. What else is new? This time, they lost to the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo and allowed Buffalo to officially clinch the AFC East. Didn't they clinch already? I could swear they clinched weeks ago, but I guess they officially clinched the East, or officially clinched to whatever. 40-14. That was the score. Wasn't really much to say about this game. The Jets were down 12-0 at half. Should have been more like 12-10. And of course, once again, in a reoccurring theme, the game totally flipped on Aaron Rodgers interception. And that 12-0 quickly turned into 40-0. And Aaron Rodgers took a seat. Tyrod Taylor led the offense to 2 garbage time touchdowns. And we actually got 14 points on the board. But in the meat and potatoes of the game, this mother effer that you see on your screen, if you're viewing it during YouTube, led the Jets to 0. I repeat, 0. I repeat, 0. I repeat, 0 points against the aforementioned Buffalo Bills. What else is there to say about this mother effer? Except for the fact that if it's left up to him, he will effectively chase one of our only assets that are worth keeping on this team, Garrett Wilson, former offensive rookie of the year as recently as 2 seasons ago, away from this team. There's been rumors bubbling underneath the surface that Garrett Wilson is like, look, if this old crackhead is still behind center, get me the fuck up out of Dodge. If this old Ionesca taking mother effer is still in a Jets uniform, get me out the city. Put me on a private flight. Put me on a private plane. Put me on a jet, the PJ, if you will, and take GW out of NYC. Yeah. Just in the season. You see the ticker. Guess what? See it again. We suck. Do we suck? Yes, we do. What do we suck? Well, that's up to your imagination. Like I said, there's nothing much to say about these New York Jets and their 12th loss on the season. No. You know what I think we need to talk about? I think we need to talk about this impending cocksucker right here. Yes, that's right. Woody Johnson. Oh, Woody. Yeah. A couple of notes that I have are from a scathing athletic article written a couple weeks ago, prior to my latest sabbatical, about how Woody Johnson is running this team directly into the ground, how he's soliciting advice from his teenage sons, and pretty much insulting players, not only behind their back, but to their face. He's becoming way too ingrained in the day-to-day personnel dealings of his franchise. Yes, we know you own this piece of shit. And we should know why it's a piece of shit. Because it's owned by a piece of shit. Yeah, there's scuttlebutt that him and Aaron Rodgers aren't seeing eye to eye. I wonder why. One came up with the jab, the one jab, extra strength, and his star free agent acquisition a couple years ago, his star quarterback is very anti-jab. So it was only a matter of time before this concoction ended up becoming very lethal. See how I have a play with words? Yeah, man. Can't tell me I ain't that mother effer. And let's begin. Jets owner Woody Johnson nixed the potential trade for former Broncos star and current Browns wide receiver Jerry Jeudy because his Madden NFL rating was too low, as relayed by former Jets general manager Joe Douglas to Denver, according to The Athletic. Woody Johnson's teenage son, Brick, an 18-year-old freshman at Harvard, and his younger brother, Jack, have within the organization an undue amount of influence. It also allegedly was not the only the time, it was not only the first time, or was not the only time, that Johnson referenced Madden ratings regarding a decision. This athletic piece, man, the athletic piece stated sources believe that Johnson is consumed with the public's perception of his team, even once holding on to the last pick of the draft, so the Jets could trade Mr. Irrelevant. I wonder if that Mr. Irrelevant, I know it's not true, but play with me here. I wonder if they would have drafted Purdy, infamously the last pick of the draft, infamously Mr. Irrelevant, who led his team to back-to-back NFC Championship games and one Super Bowl appearance. I wonder if the Jets would have drafted him solely with the intent on trading Mr. Irrelevant. But I digress. Johnson also allegedly now leans more on his teenage sons, even including them in meetings at the team's Florham Park facility. Joe Douglas told Confidence per the Athletic, "Man, I answer to a teenager." Johnson also allegedly referenced Madden ratings this offseason before the Jets signed free agent offensive lineman John Simpson, with the owner showing resistance due to a poor awareness rating. Does he not know these kind of fluctuate? Matter of fact, do you not know that you can actually manually change some Madden ratings, like just make creative plays, and just edit? Do they do that anymore? Maybe I'm showing my age. I'm not sure, but this is the type of buffoon that owns the New York Jets. The report also claims that Johnson and his wife, Suzanne, this stunning young lady in the middle, also have allegedly disparaged players in the locker room, with Woody Johnson apparently telling former quarterback Mike White, "You should throw your helmet. You fucking suck." After a 2022 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. He apologized to White for the comment, a team spokesman told The Athletic. So, on your screen right now, you have Woody Johnson, you have his wife, Suzanne, and you have his GM in training, Brick Johnson. Listen, I'm sorry. Like I was saying in the intro, this dude's name is Brick. Brick. You know what that rhymes with, right? Woody. Brick. So in a roundabout way, knowing him, because we're talking about frat boy humor right now. Well, people call me Woody. I'm going to call him Brick. And both of them are terms that could be used to describe my dick. Yeah. What, you thought it was going to be blue? You thought it wasn't going to be blue in the salty thoughts of Mike Steph? Been gone for 2 weeks. Do you know what type of thoughts that came to my mind over the last 2 weeks that I haven't been able to spew? Go get these jokes. You're going to get these double entendres. You're going to get these words. Anyway, if I could be serious for a minute, which, to tell you the truth, I really don't feel like being serious, but that's neither here nor there. If I could be serious for a minute, Can we just end the season? Like, there's not really much to be said about that article. But going into my next topic, if this is even 50% true, what does that say about the hiring process that we're about to embark on? They need not only a head coach, but they need a GM. Not only do they need a head coach and the GM, they need a quarterback. Yeah, I know we got a quarterback, but fuck him. Aaron Rodgers, listen, I'm not going to get into all that because next week will be Festivus for the rest of us. Yes, I'm stealing that phrase. Yes, I know Festivus is a fictional holiday, but not here on the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. Yes, next week will be a Steinfeld-esque episode where I will give all my grievances out before the first week of January begins, so I can just start my year right. But that's neither here nor there. So I will be talking about what just should do with Aaron Rodgers and all that. Get into that. But if this is what we have to worry about, that we have an owner that's going on man ratings, that's getting solicited advice from his son, allowing his wife to disparage players, what does that have to say about the coaching candidates that are being discussed so far? Coaching candidate. We have Rex Ryan. Yeah. This guy right here. Yeah. We had Ron Rivera, Mike Vrabel, among others. The Jets, yeah, they're looking at GM and coaching candidates who have done the jobs before as they delve deeper into their search. And it's quite possible that at least one of the two jobs go to someone with experience rather than a first timer. This information is via the New York Post, and I continue. The team will interview former Panthers and Commanders coach Ron Rivera this week, a source confirms. The 62-year-old has 13 years of head coach experience and guided the Carolina Panthers to Super Bowl 50. Former Jets head coach Rex Ryan also told ESPN Radio on Monday that he expects to interview for his old job after the season is over. The Jets do have interest in speaking to Ryan, who spent 2 years as a Jets coach and 6 years as the Jets coach and 2 more with the Buffalo Bills. There's plenty of things to debate about when the Jets should be looking for in both GM and coach. But one of those areas of debate is how important it is that the person has done the job before. Like, listen, they give 2 examples in this article about first-year head coaches, or current first-year head coaches, not first-time head coaches. And examples that they give is Jim Harbaugh with the Los Angeles Chargers and Dan Quinn with the Washington Commanders, who both have their teams in the playoffs and have been head coaches before in the league. Jim Harbaugh with the 49ers and Dan Quinn with the Atlanta Falcons. Coincidentally, they led both their teams to Super Bowl appearances before eventually them and their franchises parted ways. The Falcons was brought in as my daughter in the background wails in glee. I don't know. Matter of fact, hold on. What's going on out there? She's getting lye in her eye? Die. Oh my goodness. Is she okay? She's burning? Are you helping your sister, or are you laughing at her? Oh wow. Damn. I got cold-hearted people. And I digress. The Falcons, they have a first-year head coach with Raheem Morris. You know, isn't it funny? Isn't it kind of messed up that I just got news that my daughter is dyeing her hair and she had dye in her eye, and I asked her sister, and then I just commenced to continue this report. Yeah, I'm definitely Father of the Year material. The Falcons head coach Raheem Morris, another second-time head coach, are still in contention for the NFC South title. I don't know why, because to tell you the truth, yeah, and this one goes out to my brother Low Fat Beats. Your team sucks. You were 6-3. Now you're 8-8. With pretty much no chance in hell that y'all getting into the playoffs. Nevertheless, winning the division. I think that's the only way you can get in the playoffs, is you win the division. That shit ain't gonna happen. It's neither here nor there. The Jets have not hired many coaches with previous experience in recent years. And there have been issues for those coaches learning on the job. Like, I can count it with my hand. We got Herm Edwards, who, by the way, I think got us to the playoffs three times out of 5 years. Listen, that last year was ugly because he had his mind kind of set to go to Kansas City, but regardless, Herm was a good man. We play to win the game. And that's what we did. 3 times, 5 years. Eric Mangini, the man genius, if you will. 2 winning seasons out of 3 seasons. 10-6, playoff berth. 4-12, I think. And then 9-7 with Brett Favre's selfish ass when we was 8-3, and he just would not come out due to injury. But neither here nor there. He built a hell of a roster. Rex Ryan, 6 years, 2 back-to-back AFC Championship games, appearances. Just couldn't get over that hump. And unfortunately, eventually, wore his welcome, not only with the media, but the fan base at large, even though, like I said, it wouldn't be too bad for him to come back. Am I in that camp? I'm not sure. I'm a little 50-50 on it. I know y'all probably want me to elaborate. I don't feel like elaborating. That goes for my end of the season grievance for next week. So, but neither here nor there. Rex Ryan, I'm about 50-50 on. Todd Bowles is the only coach that I've mentioned so far that actually had a winning season in his first year as head coach and did not make the playoffs. Herm made it the first time. Mangini made it the first time. Rex made it the first time. Bowles was 10-5 with a chance to get into the playoffs. All we need to do was have a victory over the Buffalo Bills and the aforementioned Rex Ryan. And guess what? Rex Ryan took delight in knocking us out the playoffs. And then, of course, we had Robert Saleh, who never got a winning season. Had plenty of opportunities. I mean, shoot. First year 4-13, yeah, okay, but still started instilling whatever culture we have, you know, all gas, no brakes. Next year, we were 5-2 with a young nucleus. Looked like we was going places. We were 7-4 with a young nucleus. Looked like we was going places. Then we lost 6 in a row to finish at 7-10. Last year, we was 4-3 with Zach Wilson. After Aaron Rodgers spit the bit, you know, a.k.a. tore his Achilles, popped his Achilles, whatever he did to his Achilles. And, yeah, we just ended up being 7-10 because we had another 5-game losing streak. And this year they said, you know what? We see where this is going. 2 in a row. Get the fuck about it. Uh-oh. Are you crying or are you laughing? She's laughing? Why is she laughing? Oh, I guess more dying eye. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Anyway, if I don't stop getting interrupted by these screams that sound like screams of horror, but they're actually laughter and sounds of joy. Ridiculous. I swear. I swear. What is a person to do? What is a person to do? Where was I? That's weird. Y'all lucky I love y'all. Y'all really lucky I love y'all. The candidate that seems to be the favorite amongst most Jets fans is someone with experience in Mike Vrabel, who spent 6 seasons as the Titan coach and went to the playoffs 3 times. ESPN reported Monday that Vrabel's consulting contract with the Browns expired, so he is now free to interview with teams. Vrabel is not the only candidate with experience. No. Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores, former head coach of the hated Miami Dolphins, should get some coaching interviews despite missing the playoffs in all 3 of his seasons as Dolphins head coach. But that's because he had a whining bitch as a quarterback, and he had, well, the one thing that is matched is an imbecile of an owner. Yeah, an owner that he's currently, I think, isn't he still suing the NFL for discrimination? I think that suit is still going on. I wonder how that would mix. Brian Flores, power to the people, being head coach for Woody Johnson, who is still angling, but I don't know if he's gotten a spot yet to be an ambassador for 45/47. I don't know, but that should be interesting. And then last but not least, we have former Seahawks and Jets and Patriots coach Pete Carroll, who's reportedly interested in returning to coaching. That would be interesting. I mean, if we're going to go to the dig in the barrel and bring Rex back, do we bring Pete Carroll back? The 73-year-old took the Seahawks to the Super Bowl back-to-back years, winning once. Now, as for the GM job, I don't know. I mean, these are the names that I've read. They've already talked to Falcons GM, former Falcons GM, Thomas Dimitroff, and John Robinson, the former GM of the Tennessee Titans, and they could interview more candidates. They could. I hope they do. What, you just going to interview 2 and then others? Yeah, which one? I don't know. The Jets, it reads here, are not set on hiring a GM before head coach. So it is possible that whoever they hire as a head coach could have a say in the GM hire. An experienced head coach also could end up with more influence and control inside the organization than the GM. And then we'll go back to that same hierarchy where the GM and the head coach are on equal terms, and they both report to the owner, who might be Woody. It might be his brother. You don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Never a dull moment in the city of Gotham. It's never a dull moment with my New York Jets. It's never a dull moment in my humble abode of Mike Steph, because I probably should end this topic and actually go and check on my daughter's well-being, right? Listen, she's not a child. She's my child. She'll always be my child, but she's not a child. Some would say she's an adult. I would say she's an adult. But regardless, I'll be back. Didn't I tell y'all? Didn't I tell y'all that congestion pricing was always going to come back? I could swear I could swear I told y'all that, right? I mean, it's not just a figment of my imagination, right? I said that this woman on your screen, and for those who are listening, which are not many, Governor Kathy Hochul, aka Nurse Jackie, aka Velma from Scooby Doo. Shout out to Smitty from the group Home of Virgin Beach. She is still in the hotline. I mean, in the crosshairs right now. She's in the headlines because, as I predicted, right after the November elections, guess what was back on the table? Congestion pricing. This time, not the $15 per entry. Oh, gave them a 40% discount of $9 per entry to drive into Midtown Manhattan. But something has happened in the last week and change that has raised the ire once again of the commuting public in New York City. And that's this little tidbit. The new $9 toll to drive into Midtown Manhattan could soar another 25% to $11.25 on gridlock alert days starting next year, the New York Post has learned. The MTA's right to jack up the already hotly controversial commuter tax was listed in a footnote in the revised congestion pricing plan filed by the state's ruling-making publication, the New York State Register. Now, here's a quote from Democratic Representative Josh Gottheimer, who represents Northern New Jersey. And I quote, "If whacking hardworking Jersey and New York families with the new $9 congestion pricing tax wasn't enough, the MTA is now pouring extra salt in the wound with the 25% extra Uber-style surge pricing tax called gridlock alert days, whenever they want." He seethed. Now, Governor Hochul has repeatedly said that, look, the MTA is not, well, first of all, she's against the surge, number one. And number two, which she is correct, the MTA does not get to dictate when is a gridlock alert day. No. You know who gets to put that out? The City Department of Transportation. And that same Department of Transportation identified 20 days this year as gridlock alerts when traffic is at its worst. There will be a total of 11 such days in December, while there was 4 in November and 5 in September, when the United Nations General Assembly is in session. Governor Kathy Hochul originally tabled a $15 proposed basic toll, then infamously waited until after the election to push a $9 commuter tax, which could be even higher on gridlock days. The Metropolitan Transit Authority reserves the right to charge a 25% higher Central Business District charge during gridlock alert days, according to the MTA's Triborough Bridge and Tunnel Authority. On gridlock alert days, consider walking, biking, or taking mass transit for any trips into Manhattan. Whoa. Okay. So what you're saying, on those days, consider walking. The majority of those days, remember, I just said that there's like 11 days in December. It's gridlock days, right? December is kind of like winter, right? Consider walking. Consider taking a bike. Or matter of fact, how about we take e-bikes? Yeah, how about we take e-bikes? Because we don't have to pay insurance on them. We don't got to pay gas on them. We don't have to abide by the traffic rules on them. How about we just take e-bikes and then store the illegal batteries in Gracie Mansion? How about that? Oh, matter of fact, I'm sorry, Mayor Adams, you're actually not involved in this. How about we go all the way up to Albany and put up a whole bunch of e-batteries in Albany at the estate of Kathy Hochul and see how she likes that shit. But I digress. Opponents of the first in the nation congestion toll said the 25% gridlock alert toll surcharge is just another money grab by the Metropolitan Transit Authority. It's news to me. I don't know why I just gave that guy Vito Facella, Staten Island Borough President, down south accent, because they ain't accent, because nothing is down south about him. It's news to me, but I can't say I'm surprised. Who says the borough president, who is co-plaintiff with the United Federation of Teachers in a federal lawsuit aimed at blocking the congestion toll. This is clearly part of the MTA's playbook. It's how much money we can grab. It's all about maximizing revenue. It's raising the toll and never about reducing the toll. Facella claimed the new Midtown toll imposed below 60th Street will reroute motorists seeking to avoid it to travel through Staten Island, increasing traffic and spewing more pollution in the borough. Whoa. Okay. I can kind of understand that. Because at first glance, I'm like, what do you mean? If I'm trying to get to Midtown, why the fuck would I go through Staten Island if I'm coming from out of state? Yeah, but if you're coming from out of state, think about it this way. You got two ways to get into the state. You could take one of the tunnels, the Holland or the Lincoln, if you're going into Manhattan. So you get charged $17 plus the $9 once you get out the tunnel, because there's no highway you can automatically connect to coming out the tunnel. Going into the tunnel, you can get around that by taking the Brooklyn Bridge into the FDR, into the West Side Highway, into the Holland Tunnel. But coming out or coming back into the city, there's nowhere to run to, baby. There's nowhere to hide. Da, 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 da. But coming into the city, okay, if you're coming, just let's say for me, I live in Brooklyn. Now, he does have a point. Before, I would make a point, you know what? I'm going to Secaucus. I could just take that to the 1 and 9, take that to the Holland Tunnel, boom, bada bing, go over to Manhattan or the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm in my borough. Now with that $9 tax, is there really a difference between taking the Goethals and then over the Verrazano Bridge as opposed to paying the $17? I'm paying it either way. Or the outer bridge crossing into the Verrazano Bridge? Now it's like, why not? Now other people, and this is where the dude from Jersey has a gripe. Now, a lot of people be like, you know what? I'll just go on to George Washington. That means you got to go to northern New Jersey. Go over the George Washington Bridge. That connects to what? The LI, pretty much, what is that? Not the BQE, but pretty much that connects you into Queens, go over to Whitestone, Throg's Neck, all that, just to get out of paying that $9. I get it. Like in a couple of weeks when me and Mrs. Ooh take our sojourn to Secaucus to go to Walmart and Sam's Club and the like, we got to pay extra money. Now, okay, well, if that's the case, maybe I won't go to Secaucus unless we have to go to Sam's Club. Maybe I'll just go to Bayonne. No way to want to be no way to hide. Oh, in your eye. I forgot the Sopranos thing, but neither here nor there. But I could just go to Bayonne. I think my wife actually prefers the Walmart in Bayonne than the one at Secaucus. But the one at Secaucus has the Sam's Club. But I digress. Way too much personal information. But he makes a point. He makes a point. Now, a Metropolitan Transit Authority rep emphasized that it's the city's DOT that decides the gridlock alert days and that the 25% higher toll is an option for the MTA, not an automatic. Listen. If there's one thing I know, when it comes to that agency, all options are pretty much automatic. When they say, oh, we're looking into raising the fare, no, it's already a fait accompli that fare is going to be raised. That's all I'm going to say right now, because I have personal situations I have to protect. Listen, I am not a dumbass like some of these people that come on YouTube, some of these people that go on other platforms, some of these people that are actually, reps of a certain local entity that say a lot of bullshit out their mouth and not realize that all this shit is public information. But listen, I'm just a lowly servant. I am truly the voice of the voiceless. I am truly the face of the faceless. So, and I truly got there's only 6 years left. And then I'm out of Dodge. So I'm trying to protect my 6 years like I protect my children. Because neither here nor there. Now, the MTA source said an increase in this toll for gridlock is unlikely next year and may be unnecessary. Transit officials estimate that peak hour traffic could drop by 15% with the new toll. Transit sources also noted that a higher toll was always envisioned for gridlock days. This news to the majority of us when this was first broached. Governor Hochul, that broad right there, rushed to squelch any outrage over the MTA's extra surge price and squeeze on Manhattan drivers after the Post broke the news that the $9 congestion pricing toll was soared to $11.25, a whopping 25% next month. But notice she only promised she wouldn't allow the added toll hikes. The agency's legal power to do it remains. And she's certainly not retreating on a central outrage. The $9 toll itself. The gift that keeps on taking. Plus, the agency just okayed a plan to hit strap hangers and bus riders with the 4% fare hike in 2025, bringing it to an even $3 per ride. Meanwhile, Assembly Speaker Carl Hesty and Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins pulled an 11th hour power play with the surprise nix of the MTA's proposed $65 billion capital plan. All this as State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli's new audit flagged the MTA's poor progress in implementing key money-saving internal reforms. The agency's efforts to transform its procurement process has not achieved its objectives of improved service levels for the customer, process efficiencies, and cost reductions. Consolidation, efficiency, and savings in this area was promised years ago, but is yet to be fully realized. Charges not believed. So the shell game remains. The shell game remains. Listen, you know what's really at the base of all this? The base of Spaceball 2, the search for more money. I swear, all my old heads are going to get that. Young Bucks, watch Spaceballs. You'll love it. Trust me. May the swords be with you. Anyway, but the crux of this whole situation is this. Maybe if the majority of the riding public was incentivized, i.e., decentivized to not pay their fare and actually pay their fare, then we wouldn't be looking at every crevice to try to get some dimes out of the proverbial living room couch pillow. Do you know how many people go through? Matter of fact, do you know how many people think it's actually a right to use public transportation? A right, like it's a social service, like it's an extension of welfare. It isn't. It's actually a private entity that's just ran by the state that provides service to the city. Yes, multi layered. But if you just had maybe an increase of 25% of people who actually pay their fare, then maybe those who don't even use public transportation wouldn't be getting hit with the commuter tax. Do you know what kind of trickle-down effect this is going to be? You're going to have a whole bunch of disgruntled people that normally don't use public transportation coming into the system. And the first time something happens, i.e. attack, i.e. a crime, i.e. a delay, i.e. anything that's not perfect, you're going to have this new population that's inhabiting your public transportation system, bitching, moaning, complaining, and rightfully so. And then on top of that, now they're going to be hit with the increase in a couple months, because now it's going to be like, all right, do you want to pay this $9 per day to come in the city? Or do you want to have to pay this, whatever fare is going to be, $3 or $36 or $130, $137 or whatever? What's it going to be? Rock, hard place. One or the other. That's all, folks. I'm not going to lie. Those who know. Those who don't, well, figure it out. I personally don't really use public transportation. But yeah, I'm very familiar with public transportation. And very frustrated with public transportation. And some would say that I depend on public transportation to pay my bills. So I'm probably the perfect person to ask, because I actually have both sides of the fence that I can see. That combined with the elimination of the Metro card, going into this new one something New York Omni, combined with a lot of changes coming in 2025. Are we ready for it? Is the public ready for it? Is Mike Steph ready for it? I don't know. But you know what I'm ready for? I'm ready to get these jokes. Velma. Oh, look at those Those freckles are hers. Do you not see the resemblance? I mean, sans the glasses. Look, Nurse Jackie, Governor Hochul, Velma. But how about this one? Yeah. Matter of fact, just so you can see the full view. I'm sorry. It's going to come out so pervy, but I don't care because I know where my heart lies. Why didn't somebody tell me that Velma was thick like that? I'm sorry. My little 5, 6, 7-year-old butt wasn't really looking like that. I never watched the live action movies. But this picture I was able to get, damn, why is her skirt so short? I did find out recently, and tell you the truth, when I finish this recording, I'm actually going to watch. They got a show on HBO Max, or should I say Max, Velma. That's a little adult orientated. Voiced by the broad from The Office. I wonder, does Velma get it? Because I ain't going to lie, those look like some chicken legs right there. And I'm talking about the enhanced chicken legs. I'm talking about those mutant chicken legs. I'm talking about those hormone-induced chicken legs. Look at those thighs. I've told everybody. Anybody who knows me, what's my favorite part of the chicken? The thigh. Some people say, "Oh no, I'm a breast man." No. For multiple reasons, breasts are overrated. Both on chickens and on chickens. Quote, quote. Breast. What can you do with them? Yeah, they good. Big or small. They come in different sizes. Yeah, we know. But the meat is usually dry. White meat. Yeah, okay. They can be big. Then you got the breastbone. You know. Got to pick through it. Can't really it's never juicy. I mean, it could be like a bread with, a bun that you put a glizzy on. Well, a hot dog between. But the thigh. The thigh is where the action's at. The thigh is where the moisture's at. The thigh is multifaceted. Sometimes a nice, good thigh is better than anything else on the chicken. Especially the wishbone. You know what I just realized what the wishbone is? The wishbone is actually what is the shape like? Yeah. So when people say, rock the boat, rock the boat, rock the boat, rock the boat, work the middle, work the middle, work the middle, work the middle, change positions. Why don't you just talk about the wishbone? Why are you pulling the wishbone? Anyway, see, I'm see what happens when I'm gone for a while. I just start going here. I wasn't even on Hidden Gems football this past week. So that means I'm backed up. And you know what happens when the mother F is backed up? Bang! I'm going to give some quick thoughts on this past weekend's AEW World's End pay-per-view. That, like I said in the beginning, was the first pay-per-view that I actually watched probably in 2 years. Notice I didn't say purchase. I said watched. Tyler knows what I'm talking about. I'm not going to throw dirt on my name in this form, but I watched it. And what's on your screen right now was probably the best match of the card, which was Mercedes Moné successfully defending her TBS championship in a rematch from Full Gear against Chris Statlander in the longest AEW women's match in company history. But forget all that. This was a continuation of Phoenix rising out the ashes. People already wrote Mercedes off as in being overpaid, overrated, not living up to the hype, not being able to pull the rest of the division up to her level. And once again, on the second consecutive pay-per-view, she proved all the naysayers wrong. Her and Stat had a barn burner. Now, I could go into a lot of things that I could get some jokes off, but you know what? I'm going to refrain from that because that would be doing a disservice to these two women, to these two athletes, to these two competitors, and it would be doing a disservice to the absolute classic banger that these two had. It was a classic story of Mercedes pulling out all the stops, showing her acumen in and up and out the ring, and Stat matching her hole for hole, matching her with her adversity meter coming back harder and harder. This was, I'll probably say, this was the best match, this best women's match that I've seen from AEW in a long time. Well, I'll say it's the best one ever. I can't really say that right now because my memory is all about the moment. And I'm not going to lie, there was times where, that Britt Baker Thunder Rosa match from years ago on St. Patrick's Day, the moment made it great. The crowd made it great. In ring, this was better. And it took a while for them to get the crowd into it, but when they got the crowd into it, God darn it, they got into it. But now where does that leave these two competitors? Does Mercedes Moné run it back again for part 3? Who's the next challenger for Mercedes Moné? Does she go back with Willow Nightingale, who should, by all rights, be able to come back and get a rematch? I mean, Statlander got 2 matches. Why hasn't Willow? And this is something I'm not going to get into, but why is there there's still a protective glass, an invisible glass between the divisions? If you go for the world title on the women's side, you can't go for the TBS title and vice versa. Right now, to me personally, even if it's not title for title, until they run it back with Mariah and Tony, while they're doing this Tony amnesia angle, Mariah May has no opponents. Mercedes Moné currently has no opponents. You mean to tell me? Yes, I know it's heel versus heel, but there's a lot of pops. There's a lot of CEO chants. You mean to tell me y'all can't have some type of rivalry between her, Mariah May, and Mercedes Moné to see who's really the top dog in that division? The women's division, not just the world title division and the TBS division. I'm just saying. And also, where does this leave Chris Statlander? She was heel. She finally got the ultimate victory over Willow Nightingale in that Chicago street fight. And then Stokely disappears. She turns back babyface. She's been turned back twice to a challenge for the TBS championship. And she's reached out to Willow to rekindle their friendship. And tell you the truth, if I was Willow, I'd be like, kick rocks. Fuck out of here. You turned on me. But at the same time, everybody knows Willow Nightingale's personality is positivity. But there's a thin line between remaining positive and being played for a fool. But I would say this, and this comes from personal experience. I was always one to hold grudges. I was always one to be petty. I was always one to look for my get back. And my life has been way more fulfilling once I've just said, you know what? Whatever's going to be is going to be. Take the high road. Yeah, look, don't be played for a fool, but sometimes that thirst for revenge isn't worth it. Isn't worth your well-being. And maybe that's at its essence what Willow Nightingale's character is all about. Happiness, positivity, taking the high road. I don't know. So that's thought number one. Now, thought number two, which I'm going to be able to have a chance to get some jokes in. The rated R superstar Adam Copeland returned to AEW this past weekend after being out for about 7-8 months with a severe injury that he occurred in his steel cage matchup against Malachi Black. He returned at the side of FTR to make the newly formed stable rated FTR and pretty much become the newest challenger for Jon Moxley and his Death Rider stable, which is kind of underwhelming for two reasons. One, over the last couple months, I mean, I think the Death Rider's angle just went off the rails, right? He's tried to literally kill Bryan Danielson multiple times with a plastic bag over the head. He's tried to pour bleach or some type of substance down the throat of Orange Cassidy. He is trying to, quote unquote, take over AEW. And do you know on this 4.5 hour ecstasy, this past Saturday, the only mention of Jon Moxley and the Death Riders, the ones that are trying to take over the country, take over the company, was when the four-way match was about to begin. So if you're taking over the company, that means Marina Shafir has no qualms with any of the women. She could care less about titles. She can care less about the TBS title. She could care less about the world championship, right? She can care less about Tony Storm, right? Claudio and Willa Yuta. They can care less about the Continental Championship, right? The Continental Tournament, right? I mean, Claudio was in it, but he care less about that, right? I mean, there's so many holes in the angle that it's too many to plug. So I'll just get to the end. So Darby Allin, I always thought that Darby Allin was going to be the one to be like the avenging angel, the crow, the sting of AEW. And he would be the one to end Jon Moxley. And he probably will be. But shoot, they beat him like a drum over the last 2 months. So you have Edge coming on. And coming to challenge Jon Moxley with Christian in the background, which Christian is still trying to still looking for his revenge. But the funniest part about this whole thing was that night, I'm watching it with Chef Mix, my son Mikey, and my daughter, the lovely Mia, comes in. Right when Adam Copeland makes his appearance. And you know what she says? Now, mind you, my daughter does not follow wrestling. She could care less about wrestling. She went to Grand Slam. She wasn't overly impressed. She remembered Jon Moxley because he looked kind of familiar from WWE. And that was pretty much it. She was kind of bored. It's cold. just like, yeah, it was an experience. Was it going to go back? These are the casual viewers. These are the casual people you need to get. AEW. But I digress. You know, the one person she saw, as soon as she looked on the screen and she saw Edge, well, Adam Copeland, she said, "That's Edge." And I'm like, no shit. But it was just the fact that out of everybody that was on there, that's the only person she recognized was Edge, Adam Copeland, because she grew up with Edge on around. How? I don't know. Well, no. I think he retired when she was 11. So yeah, she remembers Edge. She remembers those bug eyes. But look at this picture. Dude is like 54, 53, maybe 52. He looks 60. Yeah, he got a 6-pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8-pack. I don't know. Just so they ended the pay-per-view to hype up a 6-man tag on Dynamite. Okay. Fight for the Fallen. Okay, yeah. Great cause. No bullshit about that. But do you really think that Jon Moxley is scared of Edge? Do you really think that Edge, well, Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar, is going to beat Jon Moxley? I mean, there's a scenario in which Edge is about to beat Jon Moxley, and then Christian cashes in, matter of fact, prevents Adam Copeland from beating Jon Moxley, and then he wins himself, and then Edge, oh my bad, Adam Copeland has to redeem his revenge against Christian. But this is where we're heading. I don't smell not an ounce of new blood being pushed. Kenny is coming back, and he's coming back to New Japan. But before he makes his in-ring return in a New Japan ring, he came back to hint at a renewal of the rivalry with him and Okada, who won the C2. Where Ospreay had 2 great matches, but yet fails again. How many times do you think you're going to have that man fail, and then when you finally pull the trigger, there's not going to be anybody left to care? I'm not really about the ratings. I care less about the ratings. But there's one last thing before I get out of here on this subject. At the end of last year, Dynamite was averaging about 850,000 viewers per week. Now, they've hemorrhaged almost half of that. Now they're down to about 550 on a good week. You have MJF, who is the heel, beating the babyface and Adam Cole. And see, this is why Vince didn't like people having the same names, because it's just too easy to get confused. But I digress. But Adam Cole technically was the heel who turned on MJF, who was the face, and MJF was outnumbered, and through his smarts was able to neutralize the numbers game in order to retain his Dynamite Diamond ring against a reunited and stronger Undisputed Kingdom, with now Kyle O'Reilly, who had been teasing fighting Adam Cole for months. Now they're all one big happy family. Ay, Dios mío. You know what? I don't. I'm going to say, whatever Tony is sniffing, he needs to change up the brand, because the potency is worn off. This is what I'll say. You have WWE about to debut on Netflix next Monday. And they've been out and about. They're going on streaming. They're out and about. Been pushing this for the last couple months. AEW is about to have the simulcast of the mother of all simulcasts. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? And how many times did they push that over the last month? How many times did they push that before that? If you go on Max, when you go on Netflix, first thing that pops up is Raw on Netflix. When you go on Max, I don't know what the first thing that pops up. Damn sure ain't AEW. As long as I'm able to get this, access for these pay-per-views, especially when they go back to Sundays, yeah, I'll watch. And I'll give some thoughts. But until then, well, Chef Mix didn't want to say anything on camera about the pay-per-view because he said, listen, they didn't earn the right for him to actually speak. But he gives it a 6. And that's a 6 based on this part that he actually was awake for because he fell asleep through about 3 matches. I fought through it. I watched it. And I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6 for this one reason. They actually finished before midnight. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was awesome. Well, people, that brings us to the end of another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me the podcast y'all choose to view and the podcast y'all choose to listen to. Yes. I did promise, well, I didn't promise, but I said I would be speaking about what happened this last week with my lovely grandchildren. And I had a great time. I'll reference this because this will help me get into what I want to say. Please check out Gimmick Infringement, hosted by Winchester and McDowell, each and every Sunday on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group and all streaming platforms where podcasts are available. This past week, matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to do it like this. This past week, Winchester and McDowell, Winchester himself, Brad, buddy, pal, confidant, friend, talked about a gift he received from his daughter and how much it meant to him based on he lived for his daughter, as most all fathers should, but due to, work commitments, he doesn't get to spend as much time as he would love to with his child. And his child gave him a Stitch doll, which was great. I saw it. I look up at, hey, Stitch! Which is kind of missing out my background, but that's neither here nor there. But this Stitch actually vibrates when you hug him. So he said that she gave it to him and said, this is for when you think about me and you miss me at work. And this way you'll know that I'm in your heart, I'm in your mind, and get a hug until you get home to see me in person, which was great. And while I'm doing that, I might as well combine that with the plug. Here we go.
And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, it is Sunday. We are outside of World's End. It is a beautiful day out here in the desert. It is wonderful outside. I'm kind of jealous I'm not out there right now. How you doing?
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm great. Brad. Merry Christmas. How did everything go for you?
Christmas was awesome. Merry Christmas to you. Happy birthday to your mom. It was such a great year. I'm absolutely blessed. We had a blast. Santa really came through with a good plan.
Yes. When he relayed that story on this week's edition, which they have many editions, they have the year in review with Rob Wilkins from Fightful that please check out. Also on the 19 Media Group YouTube channel under Gimmick Infringement. And they have the 5 days of Christmas episodes in which they go through holiday tradition, Christmas traditions, Christmas music, Christmas food, Christmas over the whole nine. But yeah, when he was talking about that, made me think. And because yesterday was very emotional for me. Actually, the last couple of days was very emotional for me. We had 3 of our grandchildren with us, and of course they were the children of my late son Nakai, and they all different. As I said before, and I'll say it all the time. They all are different stages of him, both personality wise, looks wise, age wise, the whole nine. And this was the first time that those 3 spent consecutive days together. They spent the whole week together. 8, 5, and 3. Which is ironic because his kids are pretty much spaced out just like my first 3 were. Him 29, soon to be 27, and 24, and then 18. But there was multiple instances that happened this week. There was one in particular because our bedroom was like a tornado trying to get ready for them. So neither here nor there. So my granddaughter Kaya comes into the room, and she always comes into the room, but for this particular reason, she didn't really come into our bedroom that much this week. She's mostly in the living room and then with her aunts and uncle's rooms. And she comes in the room, and since it kind of looked like a tornado, she's like, "Where am I? Where is this? Where is this place?" Our bedroom. Wow. And like she tried to move around, she really couldn't move around, so she did about face and started walking out the room. And now, mind you, she's 3, and she walks out the room and she gives one last look, and she said, "Interesting." I'm like, "What the hell?" She said, "Wow, okay." She has one of these things where she said, "There's a monster under the bed." She was like, "Oh, Papa, there's a monster under the bed." I think there's a monster under the bed. Yes, a monster under the bed. So I went over there, act like, matter of fact, me and Zaire, my 5-year-old, we went over there and we act like we beat up the monster. And she gave us this look, like, I didn't really want y'all to beat the monster up. I was just letting y'all know there's a monster under the bed. She gave us this look of incredulous look, like, the monster's still there? No, the monster's done. No more monster? No. Oh, and then she went back to what she was doing. So it was like, damn, I didn't know they were going to get down like that. And Jameer loves his father so much. Like, he wants to know every nook and cranny about him. So he was washing up, and I was like, "Hey," like, "what's going on there? Shoot, what happened to you? Look like you're a little fat." He's like, because you used to have an 8-pack. I got like 6-pack. He's like, "Did my father have?" I'm like, "Yeah, your father had a 6-pack. Your father had 8-pack." And I showed him a picture. I think he was probably about 14, 15 at the time. And chiseled. He was like, Did my father work out every day?" I'm like, he played a lot of basketball. Yeah, I know that, but did he work? I'm like, no, it's kind of natural. He's like, oh yeah, I gotta work out because I gotta get my extra 2. I gotta get my 8-pack. Yeah, so those are just like a couple antidotes of my week with them. You had to drop them off, take them back home Saturday/Sunday, and it's a little hard because they don't live close by, so we really have to cherish these moments. And one in particular, my grandson Zaire, like, I don't want to go home. I'm like, nah, yeah, I know. Don't really want you to leave either, but school started and everything. So that's just more inspiration for me to hurry up and do these 6 more years so I can get up out of here and get closer to them. So whenever he don't feel like going, guess what? All right, you can stay over here for the weekend. We're close by. So right now it's like 6.5 hours. Shoot, yesterday it took us. Now, mind you, we did a detour because went to Jimmy's Famous Seafood in Baltimore because we met in Maryland. Went down to Baltimore, went to get some seafood, came back up. And did I say Wawa's pizza is very underrated? We had a taste in our mouth from the last weekend because we saw Brother Mark and Sister Steph, and we had some Wawa's pizza, and that shit was amazing. So not only did we stop, when we went our way back to the highway from picking up the seafood, we saw a Wawa. Well, fuck that. Gonna get some pizza too. Pizza wasn't as good as Pennsylvania, but it worked. It worked. I don't know. Something about the sauce. I think the Pennsylvania sauce had a little more sugar. This one was more savory. But yeah, it took us 4.5 hours to get back. So anyway, I'm also continue with the plugs so I can get up out of here because it's way too late. Hip to the Games. Please check out Hip to the Games, hosted by Desmond Powell. Hip to the Games drop each and every other Friday on the 19 Media Group YouTube channel and all streaming platforms where podcasts are available. And of course, I got a clip for him also.
Season is here, and I hope you've had a blessed, healthy, and joyous one thus far. While many of us are looking ahead towards the new year, this is the time where the NBA season usually hits the big drop of the proverbial roller coaster that it tends to be. All-star voting has kicked off now. Trade rumors are heating up, and front offices are either starting to look forward towards their ideal playoff run or their ideal draft lottery suit. So given the circumstances, I have some hot topics to talk about today, like the potential trades of Zach LaVine and Jimmy Butler, the NBA's new All-Star game format, and then with seemingly questionable TV ratings, I kind of want to give my NBA State of the Union, if you will, which to me goes way beyond the TV ratings discussion. So after some hip-hop heavy episodes on Hip to the Games, it was only right that I match the heat of this NBA season for today's show with some hot topics. All right, so as always, get your popcorn ready for another hefty episode of H2DG.
Please check out Hip to the Games, hosted by Desmond Powell. Drops each and every Friday or each and every other Friday on the 19 Media Group YouTube channel and all streaming platforms where podcasts are available. Please check out my brother from the Chi-Town. Please check out Gimmick Infringement and Hip to the Games, H2DG, because they're both nominated for Best Podcast in their respective categories. Best Wrestling Podcast and Best Basketball Podcast. And also, please check out the NBA Baseline Podcast, hosted by Cal Lee and Roman Shaw of 19 Media Group. And they are another nominee in the Best Basketball Podcast category. Please check them out. You'll be glad you did. You'll be definitely glad you did. Next.
We're talking things that make you blush. We're talking things that make you blush. We're talking things that make you trust us, it's a must. From awkward to taboo, we're here to guide you through. It don't matter if you're a bit of a prude, it's a prude awakening.
Please check out Prude Awakening, hosted by Jess and Carmen, also host of Small Town USA. They are available on the 19 Media Group YouTube channel and all streaming platforms where podcasts are available. I love that jam. That's my bop. Into months. Check out this brother too.
I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken, and I'm thankful you're here. I'm recording this on November 6th, 2024, 24 hours after Election Day. Today's heavy. Voters made decisions on the local, state, and federal levels yesterday. I love seeing how many people in my life posted their selfies with the I voted stickers, especially former students. Now, not all of them share my beliefs, but that's beside the point. We must continue to exercise our rights. I hope you can prioritize your wellness and spend time doing what brings you joy in these coming days and weeks. This episode, the third installment of our Abbott Elementary Season 4 series, will hopefully make you laugh and think. I welcome iHeartRadio and 19 Media's Jabari Davis to recap episodes 3 and 4. We discussed the season thus far, Janelle James's ascension since playing Ava, and the importance of Black-led shows in this current age of Hollywood. We begin our conversation with Jabari, who shares why he loves Abbott as a series. Please be sure to like this video, leave us a review, or even share with a friend. Enjoy.
Yes. 4AZ, hosted, created by Tyler McDowell Blanken, drops every Wednesday on the YouTube channel of 4AZ and all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available. And please check out 4azteach.org for all the information that you need to get in touch with the movement by Brother McDowell Blanken from 4AZ. Be glad you did. And last but not least, what kind of plug and segment would this be if I did not plug Hidden Gems Football, hosted by the Mojo King and myself, Mike Steph. New episodes drop each and every Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group and all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available. Like, what kind of person would I be if we didn't get that out the way? Not out the way. Based on family obligations, we've kind of been not even on hiatus this week. I couldn't attend. This week, he's had family obligations, so I don't know what we're going to do. But please check out Hidden Gems Football, because somehow, some way, we will get y'all an episode this week. It might be together, it might be separate. We might have to come together like Voltron. I don't know, but best believe, check out Hidden Gems Football.
Say it to you slowly and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
Yeah, I don't think you can handle it. I don't think you can handle it so much that I'm going to do it.
Say it to you slowly and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that.
Fuck that! Clear, guys. Fuck that! You shut your mouth. Doesn't mean that this shit stops. The Rock doesn't give a fuck.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess The Rock has heard that we've been having problems this week trying to get y'all all the football news that you can use. So he wanted to interrupt, but once again, please check
Say
out.
it to you slowly and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that.
Fuck that! Clear, guys. Fuck that! You shut your mouth.
Wow. The Rock. You know what? I just saw Red One the other day with the missus. Not in the theater. Hell no. I wasn't paying to see that shit. But as a streaming vehicle, pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. It was funny. And even though I don't know, for some reason I just have the strong distaste for The Rock nowadays. I'm watching this and I'm like, he's supposed to be the hero, but for some reason he just seems like he's a prick. And why does he walk like that? He's supposed to be an elf, enormously large individual, or whatever the hell the elf meant, but he just looked like a prick. And they had Santa with the red leather shirling, doing acrobats, shrinking, enlarging himself. Yeah, Santa was on some shit. Has anybody known the person that played Santa in Red One was the dude from Oz, Schrillinger, the Nazi that raped Keller, aka Stabler? That show came on 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago. And even back then, J.K. Simmons, I think that's the name, looks 50. But I think he's just 50 now. It's crazy. He's always had an old looking face. But
Fuck that! Clear, guys. Fuck that! You shut your mouth. Doesn't mean that this shit stops. The Rock doesn't give a fuck.
All right. Well, I think that's probably a clue for me to get out of here. So I just really wanted to thank y'all for another great year of Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. We've had some highs. We haven't had no lows. Even if I got not one view, just doing this is a high for me. So yeah, I really appreciate each and every one of y'all for making me the podcast I choose to view and the podcast I choose to listen to. 2025, hopefully bigger and better things. We move forward, never backwards. And we always give 100%. And I'm letting y'all know right now, going into this new year, if I'm not able to give 100% in any particular week, guess what? You know, will not see a new video. We'll not have a new episode. But best believe, anytime you do see me on the screen, not only are you getting 100%, you're getting 110%, because that's what I aim to do. And that's what I aim to do is please not only you, but please me. And make the name Mike Steph worth what it's worth, which is priceless, tell you the truth. So basically. And yeah, just for those who might be wondering why the title underneath is Mike Steph, SES, Straight Edge Steph. Well, if I didn't say it before, I'll say it now. Earlier this month, the 10th to be exact, made 2 years sober, clean, sober, clear-minded, and yeah. I'm not a straight edge savior, but straight edge Steph, yeah. And trust and believe, tell you the truth, best I've ever felt in 48 years. Man, the natural, especially the acupuncture, or I'll get into acupuncture next episode. Because when I say acupuncture is I've talked about Zen for years, but I ain't gonna lie. Only up until the last month have I really yeah, all right. You know what? Let me get out of here. So without all that being said, I'll see y'all next week. I'll see y'all next year. Happy New Year's to each and every one of y'all. Goodbye. That's all, folks.